Hello and welcome back to round 4 of Tuesday Night Eternal, now on Saturday afternoons. Once again, an interesting matchup we have ready for you this round. It's going to be FTP Genev Aggro, Amphitheater Aggro against TJP Alessi Aggro. Both these decks have other more funny colloquial names. But in the meantime, let's go over the general gist. The Alessi aggro deck is essentially trying to play really cheap units that are really big for their cost. Meanwhile, this Genev Amphitheater aggro deck is trying to essentially get a sort of 1-2 Amphitheater flood the board style strategy going, with the backup plan of the 3-card combo of Auto Tread, Sodi Spellshaper, and Malaga Amphitheater that will kill the opponent in one turn without needing to attack. And, buckle up. This is going to be a fast one, I think.
Yeah. Why don't you quick walk through how that combo works?
Okay.
For anyone who hasn't seen the deck before.
Okay, so the way the combo works is that Malaga Amphitheater says whenever one of your units hits the enemy player, you get power equal to Malaga Amphitheater's health. It has 2 health by default. Auto Tread pays 1 and discards a card to deal 1 damage to anything. You deal that to the opponent. And Sodi Spellshaper says that whenever is a weapon that says whenever the equipped unit deals damage to the enemy player, draw a card. So the Auto Tread pays 1 power to discard a card and deal 1 damage to the enemy player. Sodi Spellshaper replaces the card, and Malaga Amphitheater replaces the power. So it's essentially infinite damage so long as there are cards left in your deck. And since the deck will have around 48 cards left and the opponent will most likely have 25 or less life, 48, like 48 or 55 or however many cards left in the deck is greater than the opponent's life total, so the opponent dies.
Awesome. I'm going to need a minute here. Why don't you do a quick walkthrough on Phoenix's deck as well? I know we saw this earlier in a round. We came in, caught the end of a match playing this, but give the overall gist.
Okay, so Phoenix's deck is the same A, B, C, D, E, F deck that we've seen previously in this tournament, except this one is playing the Nullify instead of the Tokas in the market. Again, Alessi, Brody, Crescendo, Derry, Enforcer, Furious Magnaventris. You're playing a lot of fantastic 1 through 3 cost cards that all work together in some way, with the various spells making Alessi get bigger, Twilight Hunt making Derry get bigger, Mirror Image, just copying units that get very big, very fast, for very cheap. And you just aim to overwhelm your opponent with a quick beatdown, coupled with some disruption in the form of Trials and Tribulations being a lightning storm that an aggro deck can play. Twilight Hunt being unit versus unit interaction, and Accelerate Evolution pushing units past blockers, while Bless the Wild keeps various single target spells from killing your units. Overall, very solid, very fast deck.
Okay, sorry folks, we're getting some difficulties getting things started. We will be back in a minute. Just going to do a quick intermission. Welcome back, everybody. Sorry about that. We do not have the hand cam set up right now, so we'll go without that, but we will just get this game started. Why don't you walk us through what Phoenix's mulligan decision looks like?
Okay, so Phoenix's mulligan decision, the Brody's there, and then the Trials and Tribulations are there. But then it's 5 power, so if anything were to happen to this Brody, it's looking really sketchy. Furthermore, there isn't even the second time influence in hand, so there's no guarantee of being able to decimate this tradition chant either. I don't like this. This is a bit light on action for me. I send it back as a first 7.
Absolutely. I agree. There's not enough action. This is a deck that wants to put on a bunch of pressure. I'm going to message the players now to get set up, or get going, and we should have some action momentarily.
Okay.
So Phoenix kept that. Disagreed with both of us. I guess the 3-3 on 1 may be enough pressure to do what Phoenix wants to do.
The Brody on 1, coupled with the Trials and Tribulations on 2, coupled with the Perfect Influence. I guess you can do worse.
Just need to hard the cards this game, right? You need to top deck pretty well, and if you draw the right cards, you're pretty well set up. I don't know. How do you feel about the Trials into this deck that does have a kind of tokeny thing? Is that maybe with the what pushed it? Having a potential board wipe?
So the reason the Trials is here is it's essentially a 1-cost unlock potential in many cases, because all of your units except for the Dinosaur Nest tokens actually survive the Trials and Tribulations. So that's why it's there. It doubles as both buff your units and wipe out enemy tokens. And for some reason, this match is still not underway.
HowdyDo might not be getting the message. Sorry, folks. If we can't get this going, we'll swap to a backup match. Oh, there we go.
Oh, there we go. So, Phoenix, first draw of the game, another power. So
not what you want to be seeing right here.
This might look like a blank turn 2, honestly. I don't just want to throw out a card just to give a Brody a 1/1. That's just a waste of a card. Oh, Beowulf asking in chat, what is the next count this weekend?
I haven't been keeping track, but yeah.
It is a lot.
I don't know. Did nerfing Dinosaur Nest have much of an effect on its play? It still seems like a pretty strong card, even if that final +2/+2 is delayed by a turn.
Right. Yeah, it's just, hard to answer. And, okay, HowdyDo actually playing Champion of Fury in this deck? Right, because the League Explorer got nerfed to need double fire influence before even being playable. But a 2/1 vanilla for 2 Champion of Fury doesn't look great either. And now...
How do you feel about that? Yeah, not attacking there.
I disagree with it, because I would have just gone for the kill with the Trials and Tribulations and swung in, because why not?
I feel that I would have attacked, but I would have waited to bait out a few more units with that trial. But still, I guess having that permanent +1/+1 effect, you may still kind of trap HowdyDo into thinking the coast is clear and getting to eat this 3/1 unit.
Right. Yeah, I mean, Brody's just kind of embarrassing as a blocker. So the way I see it is, Brody should act like Brody has Reckless. unless he literally just dies for nothing.
Yeah. Well, now that
So,
there are multiple units that like it can block this 2/2 and soak up some damage, I'm a lot happier with waiting now. And try to get as much advantage from this trials as you can. Right? Your deck is not doing you any favors right now. So you're going to need to get card advantage somewhere, and the more units that you can wipe with that card, the better off you'll be.
mm, I mean, that argument holds, but interestingly enough, I think if Phoenix would have played out the trials last turn, I think that this Aurelian Supplier wouldn't have met either condition to draw either card.
Mm.
So now we see the slow come out. That's going to pick up this trials and tribulations because there are two 1-cost cards. There's a 2-cost card. Might as well go after the 2-cost card.
Yeah, probably not going to have a huge effect here.
No,
Doubling
like
that. Phoenix is flooded,
it's
so
there.
yes,
Yeah.
power to spare.
So, are we going to see this Champion of Fury? Oh, we cannot see this Champion of Fury swing in because the Bless the Wild will kill it.
Yep. It could have done that last turn, and Phoenix opted not to block, but now that you know about it, you're probably not willing to offer it, right? Like, oh, changes, HowdyDo changes their mind. Probably is fine trading a card for a card, since otherwise that card's going to get wiped anyway. Why not get 2 power back and play something else afterwards?
This is true. Hmm. Yeah, I mean, the Phoenix's 2 power is going to go to waste anyway. So even if the Bless the Wild kills the Champion of Fury, it's not too big a loss. But Phoenix elects not to buff the Brody. And now HowdyDo has another 2 power. Knows about the trials and tribulations. So I don't think any 2-drop in the deck after combat is going to be worth playing. So HowdyDo still in the tank. Because we don't have a hand cam, we don't see what they're in the tank about. I mean, I'd like to say go or get off the pot. Because
there were some communication issues getting started earlier. There's a chance that, something real life might be happening.
Right, okay.
It's
true.
Or could be a lot of things to consider. Like you said, we don't have that
Right.
hand cam.
Yep, so past the turn, Phoenix is just going to come after this site. And, nothing good comes from leaving your opponent's slight around. The question
You
is
take the
now,
board wipe.
Yeah, like, I don't want to pass another turn doing nothing because they didn't draw units. And my opponent's swinging in. Instead, Phoenix is going to go into the tank, decimate this tradition chant.
Mm.
And again,
My assumption is that HowdyDo is wondering if it's like you might have some units that you could play. Is it worth playing them into a known trials and tribulations, right? And then meanwhile, Phoenix, if HowdyDo is sitting there willing to leave up power and essentially time walk themselves, why not do something else? Get a random card, because you could always trials and tribulations next turn. You're not under enough pressure to be too concerned yet. You could take some damage because there's always a chance you're going to get one turn killed with a combo down the line anyway.
Right.
Again, eke out as much value as you can because you're still drawing a ton of power here.
Yeah, Phoenix's deck is essentially forcing them to slow roll.
Showdown's an interesting one, but it's not exactly what you want to see. It's a trick. It might be able to trade it with a unit if you get lucky, but meanwhile, we have Amaran Stinger coming in, getting it to infiltrate, putting a whole bunch of Scorpion traps into Phoenix's deck. Now, anytime Phoenix draws one of those, it has Fate, so it'll get immediately played and Phoenix will draw their own card, but when that spell's played, HowdyDo gets a 1/1 Deadly Scorpion.
Yeah, these TJP decks, they have no quick draw, and so and they don't have a lot of overwhelm either. So these scorpion traps are essentially the bane of, a ground-based assault. So Phoenix now has to hold on to that trials and tribulations to wipe out some of these scorpion traps that have to be coming sooner or later. And now that Champion of Fury is up to 4 attack, and another one of these 2 attack units is gonna get through on an A space. And oh wow, another Aurelian supplier that triggers both conditions, draws 2 cards, and we're gonna see an A space for 8 damage, putting Phoenix down to 6, assuming this Champion of Fury goes unblocked.
Yep. I mean, the hard thing now is, like, you still have the option to buff your Brody and trade for it, but now you're 2 for 1ing yourself. Where you could have had for several turns ago that free 1-for-1 trade.
Honestly, this is take 2 extra damage, block one of these 2/2s, untap, Trials and Tribulations the board, and then hope to get there before the Scorpion traps really kick in. But Torch going upstairs because HowdyDo knows that there's this Bless the Wild, so targeting units is off the table with single target.
Yep, pretty heads up call.
Cards. Yep, definitely a heads up play. Phoenix probably should play the painting out to get out of Torch range of the second Torch, and then just Trials and Tribulations.
Oh, interesting here sequence. Because these Brodies, if you had played the Trials and Tribulations first, they would have attacked as 1/1s. Or 2/2s. I guess they get +1/+1. But yeah, you're leaving a couple damage on the table. The hard thing is, with so many charge units in HowdyDo's deck, because you're attacking, you're leaving yourself vulnerable to just being dead out of nowhere.
This is true, but the question is, you can't. How do you? Oh, well, now it doesn't matter. There's just an auto tread. But the question was, how do you win the game? Because you're on low life against an aggro deck, so you have to make something happen before they top deck reach. And well, as you saw, there's the top deck reach.
Yeah. We'll take a minute, folks. Just get the hand cams set up with HowdyDo, and then we'll be right back for game 2.
Okay.
Hi, folks. We are back on our way. This time we are swapping positions. Both players have some early action. That turn 1 3/3 Brody from Phoenix is doing some work, and meanwhile HowdyDo is getting set up.
Or rather, the turn one, the turn 1 Brody from Phoenix. And then there's also an Infernal Phoenix in Inferno Phoenix and HowdyDo's hand from the Crack the Earth. HowdyDo electing not to play the Arc of Soul after hitting in with the Cultist from the Crack the Earth. I think that's a pretty questionable play because ultimately you're not going to get too many cracks with the 1/1. And instead now the Brody is going to get endurance, but will elect not to swing into a 2-2 decay. So I guess that means Phoenix wants to put the flying onto the Brody next turn, but feels like it should have been done this turn, if that's the plan.
Sorry, my
To
bad there with
note,
the hand cam. HowdyDo, or sorry, Phoenix seems to be stuck on 2 power. Handful of Valk Enforcers and Magnaventress and you know, some things to do, but need a bit of help to get there.
right, power, once again, uncooperative.
Sometimes you have too much, and sometimes you have too little. That's all part of card games we play, right?
Mm-hmm. However, the dinosaur nest is definitely being agreeable with Phoenix right now, giving Phoenix several 1/1 flyers and making that decision to market for the Inferno Phoenix look kind of silly in hindsight.
Mm.
But as
Well,
they say, hindsight's 20/20.
same time, this auto tread could make pretty quick work. You can pitch a couple cards and still be fine to try to play that Spell Shaper on it late down the line, get your card
Definitely.
advantage back.
Nevertheless,
Oh, that's
the
go
go
ahead.
ahead. Oh,
I was gonna say the Sentinel is a pretty nice draw. I like playing the Sentinel, getting your free card, and then pitching that card plus something else to kill the 2 tokens.
definitely grow the auto trade, kill the flyers to make room to make way for the Phoenix, and then potentially spell shaper away the Brody, barring a Bless the Wild coming out,
Mm.
which exists. So let's see here. I like the plan of ditching the two, the Grendon and the Power Burst, taking out the 1/1 flyers, then sending in this this power cell. Even if Brody eats it, he's going to be turned into a 0/1.
Yep.
At which point, okay, you block the Phoenix for a turn, chump.
Yeah, or
And
just auto tread it if need be.
yeah, and then auto trade if need be. Instead,
I guess if you swing first, it lets you auto tread the Brody or the other one if gives yourself
right?
more options for what to auto tread.
Yeah, that's true. Great call.
Probably doesn't
So,
change too much in the end, but give yourself the opportunity to have more
right,
decisions down the line.
right. So there we go.
Okay.
And boom.
Just as you called it. And this is really unfortunate for Phoenix. Just deck is not cooperating this match.
Yeah, deck runs 27 power sources. Phoenix kept a 2 power hand that said, "Hey, if I get this my third power, which is second justice source, I have 2 Valkyrie enforcers, and then after that, I have Magnaventress."
Let's go in the
Basically,
out. This is a 3-turn clock. So
this is a 3-turn clock. Unfortunately, that 3-turn clock is just going to go away right now because HowdyDo basically says, "I'm going to make you have the second Bless the Wild." I think.
Yep. And Spell Shaper, the Spellcraft, it is 2 cost. So HowdyDo does have the 5 to both play and get the equivocate.
Right, but I think how Phoenix went for the bluff. Hey, I played a Bless the Wild on my Brody. I swung. I have another pause. I might have that second Bless the Wild.
I mean, the attack was free anyway because Brody has endurance now.
Right.
But it is an interesting point showing that you had that pause. That's something that, makes Eternal a little bit different than some other games in the genre where priority, it only pauses if you have something. And so that's a tell that other players will pick up on. And it can be used to bluff as much as it is to signal what you actually have.
Right, right. The question is, does HowdyDo see through the bluff? Basically, the idea is if the equivocate gets negated, you're kind of in for a world of hurt. But if it doesn't, like, okay, if it gets negated, you still have the opportunity to play the Inferno Phoenix. Instead, we're just going to see an ace base.
Okay, willing to trade the Phoenix, and getting a ton of damage. It was not the buff. So if it was like that's kind of scary to tech into because it could have still give Brody another +1/+1 and eaten the Phoenix, right?
Yeah, that would have been rough. Instead, the auto trade is gonna go down.
But meanwhile, Phoenix has a precarious life total. Wow, that trials and tribulations.
That's his game.
Right in time, yeah. What a turnaround.
Okay, now time for the Aurelian supplier to try and make a miracle happen. And...
well, it can attack. It has double damage. It can trade with the Brody. This plus the torch can...
This is true.
Yep, that's survivable. If Phoenix takes it, it's only dealing 4 damage, and there will not be enough damage left to win, right? Like, you'll lose on the crackback.
Yeah, but is Phoenix afraid of the double torch? No.
Is not.
Phoenix
says, no, have it, or else I win right here.
Yep.
Wow. 2 power, just stuck with all these cards in your hand that you could not play on 3, and it still just worked out.
Yeah, that was...
Well, that's okay. It just gives us more action to watch, right?
That's true. That's true. Like I can see why HowdyDo made the plays they did. Still, I would not have played around the second second Bless the Wild.
We're gonna jump right back into game 3.
And back in game 3.
Wow. Technically not a 1 power hand. You have a chant, but you little slow on your Brody coming out, and then you have your trials and tribulations, but you're still kind of... Are we gonna have a repeat of the last game?
It's a good question. So let's see here. Okay, HowdyDo just gets a turn 2 charging champion of Fury. Why not? Is what I say right here.
And that Brody does not have any stats to really fight it off on the defense. So
nope.
That seems like a pretty good timing. HowdyDo with just a solid hand.
Ultimately, HowdyDo might be once again afraid of a Bless the Wild. So
that's
just
fair.
Representing the card.
There is a pause. Not that it was shown yet.
Right. Another potential line of play is just the Passionate Stonehammer into the Spell Shaper next turn. Berserk it, draw 2.
Yeah, that's fair. What do you think about doing that though? And like you have 2/3 of your 1-turn kill combo. Do you risk throwing one of those cards away just to progress a little bit on the board?
It's a good question.
Like you'll need some power to set things up, but you do just need an auto tread to pop off.
It's true. That's true. But luckily for HowdyDo, they can just
grabs the nullify. Okay.
They can just delay the decision to the next turn, and a very opportune tradition chant for that second justice is going to unlock the Valkyrie Enforcer next turn, and also an accelerated evolution here is going to pop the Brody up in the air. This Passionate Stonehammer has Reckless, so absolutely must attack into this 1/4 Brody. Okay, one thing to possibly do is to play the site and play Daring Maneuver, making the Passionate Stonehammer a 4/3.
Use
The
that
question is,
berserk and get him while you can.
right, the question is, what then?
Well, you get some power back.
Yeah, get all your power back for the turn.
See, you're still shy of. Oh, and you can only go up to your max power. It doesn't refund two.
Correct. It's not
Okay.
a ramp card. You can't do something like turn 3, drop this, and then turn 4, swing with you with 4 power,
Hmm.
get 2 power, drop a 6 drop. Doesn't
Well,
work
you
that
you
way.
drew. How do you drew the auto tread? So the combo's in hand. So I like playing the Stonehammer
Right.
and trying to protect this site so that way you have an out to doing a one turn
Yeah.
kill.
Yeah. If this site doesn't go down now, game's over next turn.
Unfortunately for HowdyDo, that there are multiple ways that these units can get taken care of, and that site will get killed.
Right. Valkyrie Enforcer is just going to silence this Stonehammer. The Stonehammer is going to get out of the way, and then the site's going to go down.
Yep.
A fair bargain.
Yeah, while a very powerful combo, if you get all the pieces going, it takes a little bit to get them all assembled, and usually you have to do that over several turns, leaving individual pieces vulnerable. Again, here's that attack with the Stonehammer, and it's going to trade away. Now, HowdyDo has the option to let it happen and then auto tread whatever blocks to kill something.
That's true. Yeah, I mean the Stonehammer has to attack, so whatever blocks, just kill it off with the auto tread. And then the question is, if the Enforcer blocks and the auto tread kills it, does HowdyDo pump it one more time to play around a Trials and Tribulations? Because if that auto tread just comes out and stays as a 2/2 and then gets cleaned up by the Trials and Tribulations, that's a disaster.
Yeah,
So,
it's probably worth having a little bit of insurance.
so HowdyDo in the tank. Ultimately, though, the hand's forced because of Stonehammer's recklessness. So swing in there, see what blocks, and take your turn from there. Okay, Enforcer blocks, have to kill it. So one thing that can be done right now is play the power cell, then play the auto tread, kill the Enforcer. And then the question is, does HowdyDo discard both the power burst and the Champion of Fury for that +1/+1 on the auto tread?
Well, now you would have to discard your whole hand, right? You can't have played
Right.
the
Right. Yeah, this is going to be brutal. Oh, especially brutal with the Alessi. Drop Alessi, drop Trials and Tribulations, and then that's going to be all she wrote.
Lessie will get pumped by the spell being played before.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, and there's the brutal blowout.
Yep.
Okay, HowdyDo has an Amaran Stinger,
But
which
with
is
all these units on the side end, yeah, it's not probably never going to get in unless something nuts happens.
Yeah, so now it's just, well, do you mirror the Grown Gillespie or do you mirror the Flying Birdie? Okay, we're mirroring the Grown Gillespie. Send 10 at face. Okay, take 10. Next turn is very, very lethal. Okay, play the Power Burst. Yeah, even with the Equivocate, it was pretty much over. Okay, so HowdyDo could have won that if they were absolutely psychic or if they were super conservative. I think there might have been some lines, but hey, if you're not playing around the thing you can't beat, and you're deciding, hey, I can't beat this if they have it. Otherwise, my expected value is too low playing around it. How do you do? Took the line. I think that did maximize EV, but Phoenix just had the trials, and it just went downhill from there.
It's just how it works out sometimes. So that is actually the last match of the round. We're gonna wrap up there. We'll take a few minutes intermission and be back for the final round of Swiss.